So here's that new survey of New Hampshire voters, which has President Biden leading former President Trump in a hypothetical rematch. The latest CNN University of New Hampshire poll finds 52% of potential 2024 voters in the state would back Biden, while 40% would vote for Trump. 8% say they are either unsure or would back someone else.
Yeah, Willie, it's early. This could be an outlier. But I think we're going to see this time and again. We're going to see national polls. People are going to be freaking out. And then we're going to see what people are saying in the suburbs, what people are saying in swing states like New Hampshire, and understand that Joe Biden is not buried quite yet.
Yeah, he's not buried quite yet. And if you look inside that poll, there's been so much talk about Joe Biden's age, and even Democrats want somebody else to run. And how many times have we heard this on this show privately when you go have dinner with people? But if you look at this poll in New Hampshire, maybe they do have concerns about his age. 94% of Democrats say they will vote for Joe Biden. So there's your answer. I mean, they believe he's the guy in the absence of someone else coming along. They may not be thrilled. They may not be energized by him, but they're going to vote for him, especially if he's running against Donald Trump. And Jonathan Lemire, you look inside this poll, there are some concerns about the president's age, but he definitely has Democratic support. And that 12-point margin, again, it's one snapshot, one moment in time. Even Republicans appear to be fishing around. If you look through the numbers, they're not thrilled with the idea of Donald Trump even as their nominee. It doesn't mean he won't win, but there are some candidates kind of rising in New Hampshire below Donald Trump there, not as far back as they are in some other states.
Yeah, that's right. It does feel like every few weeks or a few months, like the talk about President Biden and his weaknesses for next year picks up again. And then you're reminded when we see polls like this or a piece of legislation done that actually he's in pretty good shape going into next year. Though, of course, there are, as you say, Willie, those concerns about his age. That's top of mind for many, many voters. But the poll is interesting here. First, on the Republican side, the complete implosion of Ron DeSantis, who's now slid all the way to fifth. Yeah. That continues to, his campaign shows no signs of reversing that free fall. And some Republicans looking around. Haley has picked up some points. Christie does well in that state, though not others, which shows perhaps a little bit of softness there for Trump. But in terms of that Trump-Biden head-to-head for a general election, yes, one poll, but that's a pretty good number. Now, New Hampshire's not the battleground state that a Michigan or a Wisconsin or an Arizona or a Pennsylvania is. It has been trending blue the last few cycles, but still, it is one of those where both campaigns are going to put money in. They're going to put resources in. And it's clear that Joe Biden goes into that state with a pretty significant lead. And the theory of the case from this White House from the get-go is that next year, as this campaign really ramps up and he starts hitting the road, that's when more Americans will feel the benefits of these economic policies. They'll see those poll numbers pick up, Americans feeling better about the progress made. And also, we're going to spend a year watching Donald Trump sit in a courtroom, and that's going to turn off independents and swing voters. And even if they don't love Joe Biden, they'll still come back to him.
Well, and they're going to turn off Republicans. See, I mean, here's my theory of the case right now. And if I thought Joe Biden was going to lose, I would say Joe Biden's going to lose. But my theory of the case all along has been these Democrats that are saying, you know, oh, he's too old, and it's James Carville said, a whole lot of bedwetting going on. It's 2023. They can say that. As they get into 2024, as it gets closer to the election, as it becomes more obvious that Donald Trump could be the next president of the United States, I would be really surprised if the overwhelming majority of those Democrats not only came home, but they voted. On the other side, not the case. And I told everybody this over the summer. I'm hearing from more and more friends and family members in the suburbs say they will never vote for Donald Trump. Now, they will never vote for Joe Biden, ever. But they will do what Republicans started to do in 2020. They'll vote for everybody on the ticket. They're not going to stay home. They're going to vote for everybody on the ticket, and they're going to leave the top line empty. And that's what's going to end up getting Donald Trump at the end of the day in the suburbs of Atlanta and Philly, New Hampshire, suburbs of Detroit, I mean, we can go down the list.
Yeah. And Dobbs, right? I mean, Jonathan says,
and Dobbs. I mean,
Dobbs,
that's so important. That's the issue. If you look at what's happened over the past year, it's just shocking how huge of an earthquake abortion
and
has been.
Independent women being concerned about rights taken away from different states, like that popped in a poll this week. It's very deep. And like Lemire says, the White House says the economy's going to get better next year and people are going to feel better about that. That's the hope. That's the
I'm
plan.
I'm skeptical about that. Interest rates going up, gas prices going up.
Are going up, Joe. It's the
Gonna be tight.
That is, but even recall in the midterms, inflation was higher than it is now, right? It was not the economy was not doing great, and what voters saw was the threat that was posed to democracy. Dobbs was such a huge issue. I just think fundamentally, and at this New Hampshire poll, I mean, yeah, it's one poll, whatever, but UNH and CNN, like, this is a legit operation.
Yeah.
That state's been hearing a lot of anti-Trump messaging, the kind of messaging that you'll hear on Saving Democracy. They haven't been hearing a lot of Dobbs.
And they're hearing about it from Republicans. They're hearing about it from Chris Christie.
From Republicans. Great. Yeah, I hope Chris Christie will, when he's not the Republican nominee, will continue to help make that argument.
Yes, exactly. And by